I'm Tyler Dorsett. I'm giving an informative speech about the seven wonders of the world, and I picked the Christ Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. By the end of this speech, I want my audience to learn about the Christ Redeemer statue. I want them to learn more about it. So I'm going to talk about from the creation of the statue to what it means to the world now. The Christian icon in Rio de Janeiro was completed in 1931. It took roughly 9 years to build. The statue was proposed to Brazil in the mid-1850s by the high priest at the time. The young princess had died, so he wanted to make the statue in honor of her. But it was proposed and it was denied by the state because they were a republic at the time and they were separating church and state, so they couldn't have a Christian monument at the time. Well, 1922 rolls around and it's proposed again by a small group called the Circle of Catholics. And what they did, they held it's something called the Semana do Monumento, and it means the week of monument. So they held a week-long ceremony, and they gathered signatures and raised money for the creation of the statue. So after the week was done, they had raised enough money for the statue and got enough signatures for the state to approve the statue. So once it was approved, they started making their way towards it. In 1921 is when it finally got approved. It took 7 months for them to agree on one design. First, they thought it was going to be God holding the world. Then they wanted it to be a big cross with Jesus hanging on it. Well, after 7 months, they finally took and made the design. And it is today now Jesus with his arms standing wide open. The Christ Redeemer statue when it was built, was one of the biggest statues in the nation, or in the world, I should say. It stands at a whopping 125 feet tall and 98 feet wide. The statue was first thought about in the mid-1850s, as I said, by the high priest to honor the princess, but it wasn't again accepted until 1920, where they finally decided that they needed a statue on the hill. The creation of the statue, it took 9 years to make. And at the time, it cost $250,000 US, which relates to now as $3.6 million. So put that into perspective, that they raised $3.6 million in a week, which is absolutely crazy. But they did it, and bam. So the statue was finished built in 1931, and it was finished being built in 1931, where they held the opening ceremony on October 31st. The person who created the lights for the statue was stuck in another state in Brazil due to inclement weather, so he wasn't able to make the ceremony. Well, they went on with the ceremony without him. On its 75th anniversary, they created a temple under the statue to where for the Catholics to hold baptisms and to hold weddings. In about 2003, there was a bad lightning storm that struck the Christ Redeemer statue, and it caused lightning damage to the statue. And then in 2008, another storm came through which broke off one of the fingers. So the state of Brazil made a clause that they would create a yearly maintenance of the Christ Redeemer statue to keep it up tip-top shape. So they ended up doing that, and the first big maintenance that they had on it took, I think it was 5 or 6 months to complete. And so while they were redoing it, they had vandals come in there and spray paint the statue, which was a state crime. And they ended up catching the guys, and they're probably still in jail right now. But so the statue is still there today. They get roughly 2 million visitors a year to see the Christ Redeemer statue. So people coming from all around the world just to come see this beautiful monument made to symbolize Jesus's life on earth and what he did for us. So with that being said, I feel that I have informed everybody about the Christ Redeemer statue, what it stands for, what it means, all that good stuff, and thank you.